Hi, welcome again to Ancient Tales for Today. Well, we've been following the story of how these people came out of Egypt and they're on the way to the promised land. 正在走到应许之地. But they stopped at a mountain, 西乃山, Mount Sinai, and a lot of rules were given to them. Now we're going to talk about today. This is number 57. Today we talk about religious systems. Every culture has religious systems. So this is 57. Stay by for another interesting lesson from Ancient Tales for today.
Number 57, Religious Systems. The ancient tales often speak about ideas that are not familiar to us today. Because of the distance of time and place, we don't understand everything. This is very true when it comes to religious systems. Why do people follow rituals? What are they for? What importance are they for us today? Good questions. We do not need to pay attention to every detail, but let's look at how people usually worshipped. They brought gifts to their gods. In this way, they showed that the god was important to them. Often they also thought that by pleasing their god, they could make the god do good things for them. Ancient people saw their world as a dangerous and difficult place, and they wanted all the help they could get. Of course, we may see things that way too. So it was really important to perform the religious rituals. Moses shared a lot of very specific details, for example, on how to make a shrine, what materials to use, how to put it together, and how it was to operate. You may say, that is not relevant for us today. But the reason for rituals was to focus the mind on what was important, to remember the spiritual aspects of life. Moses was given very clear instructions about how to worship the God of heaven. Why? Everything needed to be organized and orderly. And of course, the rituals were designed to help people think about God and how He wanted to relate to them. The details were important to them. For us today, things are different, but we still need to be reminded that our physical life is not everything, that there is a spiritual aspect to our existence, that heaven is important. So, how do we bring the spiritual into our everyday life? That is what religious systems are meant to do.
As we've been seeing all along, and we will see again today, the ancient tales, which we call the Bible, the ancient tales often speak about ideas that are not familiar to us today. 跟我们现代的人不很熟悉, okay? Ancient tales speak about ideas that are not, because their culture and our culture are completely different. And it would be nice if we could actually go back and see a video or a bunch of videos on life in those days. Completely different. Different language, different people, different time. I mean, hey, they would be surprised to see that we have email and we have internet, 互联网. So, see, we're talking about a long time ago, completely different culture. Because of the distance of time and place. Distance of time, of course, 时间是很久很久以前 and place, 地方也不同. It's a long place. Well, actually, it's probably half a world away, okay? We don't understand everything. 根本的很多东西很多事情我们很难了解. This is very true when it comes to religious systems. 特别是提到这个宗教系统 ，OK？ 那他们的看法跟我们现代的看法是不一样的了. So it's a little bit difficult to understand what all the meaning was. So, the question we probably need to begin with is, why do people follow rituals? What is a ritual? A ritual is 仪式. It's something that you do and do and do always in the same way, 仪式. What are rituals for? What are they for? 有什么目标目的? And what importance are they for us today? 我们现代应该是怎么样了解有什么重要性? Okay, so we look at what they did then, and we say, whoa, 是重要吗? We have to think about that. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. These are good questions. These are questions that we should ask as we see what's happening. We do not need to pay attention to every detail. Now, I think that this is important. 我们不一定不是说不一定 we need not 不需要注意那些细节 Okay. So it's the details. We don't need to pay attention. But we do need to look and see how people worshiped. 我们应该 Well, I would say maybe see the big picture 要看这个大的途径 See how they were 是看他们是怎么样做敬拜平常顺常 usually worked 平常通常 maybe usually worshipped. They brought gifts to their gods. Well, actually nowadays it's almost the same. Many people bring gifts to their gods. In those days, they brought gifts. What is a gift? A gift is a 礼物, okay? To their gods. 带给他们的神. In this way, they showed that their God was important to them. Of course, when you bring a gift to someone, 你的表示这个对方 or in this case God is important to you. So 对你来说是很重要. So giving a gift shows that we 看重 we consider the God or gods to be important. Often, they also thought that by pleasing their God, they could make God do good things for them. Often they thought, 他们的思想是这样，这如果使他们的神高兴 to please somebody is to make them happy, they could make their God do good things for them. 就讨好他们的喜欢 Okay? 使 to make their God 使他们的神 do good things to them 好好对待他们do good things 这个祝福他们给他们好东西going on Ancient people saw their world as a dangerous and difficult place to live. Everywhere they were like, everything was dangerous. 很危险，很困难，人生好辛苦。And they wanted all the help they could get. 当然呢，能够得到帮助。他们都愿意得到帮助。They wanted this help. They wanted 喜欢得到这些帮助。Of course, we may see things that way too. Of course, if our gods can help us, then we would want our gods to help us, right? Okay, so because of that, they worshipped and used rituals 是讨好他们的他的神的喜欢啊。So it was really important to perform religious rituals. Yes, this was very important, and it still is important because our societies all have religious rituals. Well, we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about this, but first of all, let's take a look at some light on our path.
故事57
In today's Light on Our Path, we're going to go to Psalms 86. We should look at from 8 to 11, but we'll just read 10 and 11. 86, 10, and 11. Here's what it says. It says, "For you are great and do marvelous deeds. You alone are God." And then verse 11 says, "Teach me your way, Lord, that I may rely on your faithfulness. Give me an undivided heart, that I may fear your name."
我们来看诗篇的第86篇，我们只看2节，第10和11节。10节说：因为你为大且行奇妙的事，唯独你是上帝。耶和华啊，求你将你的道路指教我，我要照你的真理行，求你使我专心敬畏你的名。艾老师，我就是想到大卫他当年看到很多上帝的奇妙的作为，可是今天的人觉得上帝离我们很远，好像看不到上帝。
Yeah, that's true. 太抽象了，看不到。
对，摸不到。
摸不到。So what do we do? Well, I think that verse 11 is the most important thing because if you don't see God, if you don't
寻找他
Yeah, 你寻找不到。
对。
Then the most important thing is to pray a prayer. 你要祷告，像他刚才说 ，Teach me your way.
对。
So if you don't know where he is, 看不到。Then you say, "Teach me your way, that I may understand." You see, if we do this, then the burden, 这个负担是上帝的负担，
对，
它会显现出来。
对。
Okay, so that's our light on our path. So, as we have been discussing, and we have talked about over the last several lessons, God and Moses shared a lot of rules and things that they should do. Now, Moses shared a lot of specific details, 细节，特别细节。For example, 比如说 for example, on how to make a shrine. You know what a shrine is? A shrine is somewhere where you worship. Sometimes a shrine, 这个神龛呢，神龛, I hope I said that right, I'm not sure. 神龛, okay, a shrine. Sometimes they're small, sometimes they're big. But now, Moses actually told them what materials to use. 要用什么样的材料? Ooh, that's interesting. Even the details of what kind of materials, 这个细节，特别是这个材料，要用的什么材料? Okay, and then how to put it together, 怎么样制作? Okay, this fits here, this is, you know, these are details. And, of course, how it was to operate. 怎么样进行啊? Okay, 怎么样进行 to operate or 运作, you could even say to operate. Whoa, these are details. Normally we would think a person would think these things up. 一个人自己会想出来. But no, God told Moses told them exactly how it was to be built, 怎么样盖, and how it was to operate. And we look at that and we say, oh, 我的人生已经够辛苦，何况看这些啦? You may say this is not relevant for us today. 对我们来说是无关的，没意思了, not relevant. But going on, we could say yes, but the reasons for the rituals was to focus the mind on what was important and to remember the spiritual aspects of life. You see, there is a reason for the rituals. 这个仪式都有目标, a reason for the rituals. And it is to focus our attention, 把我们的注意力集中于 the most important things. I often say, sometimes we major in minors. 小事情我们就放大了, okay? So these rituals, 仪式, help us to focus on the important things. And also, keep in mind that it helps us realize, 帮助我们想到一点, the spiritual aspects of life, 人生属灵方面的事情. Now, I must admit, and I think that you would admit too, sometimes we're so busy living our lives that we forget the spiritual. 很容易忘记属灵的事. Okay? So these rituals help us. Now, Moses was given very clear instructions about how to worship the God of heaven. Okay? 关于怎么样拜天上的上帝, 怎么样拜他呢? 这些教导都给摩西. Moses was given clear instructions, 很清楚的教导怎么样拜天上的神. Oh, you could ask the question, okay, why? Because everything needed to be organized and orderly. 因为一切的一切事情必须有组织跟秩序 organized and orderly. 这个有组织有秩序 Got that right? Okay. And of course, the rituals were designed to help people think about God. The final, the most 基本上重要的事情是 it helps people 想到他们的神 and they was supposed to help them on their relationship with Him. So these rituals help people establish 建立一个好关系，跟神建立一个好关系。Going on. The details were important to them. 这些细节对他们来说 very important. For us today, things are different. 那我们是不同啊。We're 3,500 years later. About 3,500 years later. But we do need to be reminded that our physical life is not everything. 我还是要提醒自己，我们的人生，我们的生活，并不是一切的一切。That there is a spiritual aspect to life. 人生也有一个属灵方面的。To our existence, that means that we exist on this earth. 我们存在这个地上，是都有属灵的一方面的。Our existence, why we are here. And that heaven is important. 这个想到天国天庭是重要。That God is important. So how do we bring the spiritual into our everyday life? 我们怎么能够把属灵的事情带到我们日常生活中呢？ That is what religious systems are meant to do. 这个宗教系统的主要点，这个目标应该是帮助我们想到属灵的事情。With that, let's stay by for a few words you do need to know. Now for some words we need to know. First word is a familiar word. Actually, it's the word familiar.
熟悉，很熟悉的。
So if you are familiar with that person, you're 很熟悉。
熟人，熟人。
熟人。Some people say 熟。
熟，yeah。
也可以吗？
也可以，对。
Okay. Thank you. 谢谢老师。
哎呀，艾老师好。
Okay, the next one is rituals.
哦，这里是说仪式。
Okay, rituals. Every religion has some rituals.
艾老师，我想问 ceremony 和这个字有什么分别呢？
差不多了。
差不多。
差不多了。So you can say rituals, ceremonies also.
OK， 明白。
Very, very good. Thank you for bringing that up. The next one is pleasing.
讨好。
Okay, now, actually pleasing, 你要看那个上下文。Because sometimes pleasing just means
快乐。
快乐。I am pleased. I am happy.
对。
But to please somebody means also to 讨好. Some people worship God and他们就是要讨好神，要神给他们好的东西啊。So pleasing in this case 有讨好的意思啊。And let's take a look at one last one. Organized and orderly.
这里是说有组织、有条理的。
Okay, organized 有组织。Orderly though is a nice one. It says 有条条有理，有条理的。Organized and orderly, and I hope that you and I are both organized and
没问题。
orderly. Well, we've been looking at this book, and we've been a little philosophical in the last couple lessons, but that's important too, because there is a reason for religious systems. 宗教系统都有它的目标, and those reasons are good because it helps us to think about God. Well, as we continue on in this book, we need to look at the next lesson. The next lesson is number 58, a very special day. A special day. So, join us next time as we talk about a special day. See you then.
That's all for today, and thanks for watching. If you like Ancient Tales for Today, please visit atft.chinesehope.tv. You may also contact us by writing to ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Again, that's ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Tell your friends about Ancient Tales for Today. See you next time.